What are the first few things you do when you start making a movie? Can you take us through like the first month?
Yeah. If it's a script that I did not write, the first step would be, definitely making sure I understand the script. I think the process of making a film and making any film project is fairly similar. It always starts with a script and making sure that I feel it. Like that's important to me. That it kind of makes my heart beat a little bit faster when I read it. So if I didn't write it, like smoothing out some of these character transitions, it's important to find themes that mean something to me. Even if it's a movie about time travel, like what makes me, like I know when Zemeckis did Back to the Future, like the idea of he wondered if what it would be like to hang out with his dad in high school and if he'd like him. That's where that came from. And that's what got him up in the morning. That's what really made him connect to that story, right? And that's what made that film so great. So I think that's really an important, because that's what's going to carry you through the whole movie, is finding that. Picking your crew then would be like a next big, like you need to find your creative partners. I like to, and of course your cast. I like to cast my crew as well. Having good attitudes and good professionals around me is very important. I like to pick people who are better than me. I don't want a DP that I'm better than. I'd rather have someone who pushes me. And who's not a diva. Sets are pressure cookers. It's hard, and there will be days where your worst self will come out. You want good people, even though they may snap when the hour is late. They're still good people at the end of the day, and you're okay together. So that's important. I really carefully pick those crew people. Then I'll start as soon as I can I like to storyboard. I like to really know shots specifically. At a minimum, at least a shot list of things, because your AD is going to want that. I have found that you cannot prepare enough. If the scene is complex, like for example with suppression, the room changes shape throughout the story. So I actually built miniatures of the sets with little army men and in their relation to the size of the set, so that I could really understand and kind of get my head around the physicality that we're working with. I'm doing a Star Wars fan film. We're shooting next week. I did the same thing. Like we had a bunch of stormtroopers and we have a couple characters. I got little action figures so I could take this fight scene and map it out, and move the characters around just to see the geometry of what we're playing with. It's so helpful for the actors, for the stunt coordinator, for the cinematographer to go, oh, right. I see. Like everything you can do to help the rest of the crew understand what you're doing better. So storyboards, mood boards, finding video clips, showing everyone see this scene, this is a scene that I like and I'm trying to emulate. See the colors and the way they splash in the back wall? That helps so much. Speeds the process way up. Because the worst thing to do, the killer of creativity, is endless explaining on set of what you're trying to achieve and no one understanding it. That's really frustrating and slows you down. So yeah, I'm big on the storyboards. I love doing those, and I really like the action figures too, because it's a lot of fun. Now that said, there are some things you can't plan for, which I'll just acknowledge that going in. I'll try to get some general parameters. For example, like say a big dialogue scene where it's two characters, whatever, in a living room. I know that I may hit certain beats. I may map out I know that at this point they're going to be face to face when they're really angry. But I don't want them looking at each other at this point. So I might do some of those, but then on set, I'll just kind of organically try to figure it out as we go. That comes also with the preparation, because you need to plan for that time to work with the actors for that. So when you get to set, to make sure your AD understands, I need 20 minutes or an hour to walk through the scene with the actors just so everyone knows what's going on. I think, so once I have all that done, meeting with the department heads is key. It's kind of surprising to me how oftentimes that does not happen, but meeting with your production designer, your DP, your gaffers sometimes can be helpful. They're good for the location scout, but wardrobe, hair and makeup, all those people, the producers. So, and go through line by line on the script. Have the actors there and read the lines if you can. So then if there's any questions, everybody knows the answers. Like, because they'll start asking you questions that you never realize. Oh, it's a pistol. It's not a rifle, it's a pistol. Really? I always thought it was a rifle. Those things will come up if you don't just gloss over a scene, read through it. Because, someone has a question, raise your hand. That's so important. And the sooner on, don't do that days before. Do that at least couple of weeks before, so they have time to go shop if they need to or whatever. And I personally like to be physically fit for these things because it's also physically hard to do shooting. Like, to take time for myself. Like, I like to get massages while I'm working. Not while I'm working, like in between, like once a week
right.
or leading up, because the stress will make you bind up. So, and I also do a lot of yoga. So like lots of yoga and prep physically for it. Eat very healthy leading up. Try to get as much rest as I can. That's important too, because it will push you. You may end up sick by the end. That happens a lot. Those are the main things I would do. And again, you can't prepare enough for these things. There'll always be questions. You've said it 1,000 times and people are gonna go, I don't understand it. That just happens.
So you actually showed the crew these action figures?
Sometimes, yeah.
And just how, like from this like almost looking down, like this different perspective, like this 3D sort of thing?
If there's not for every single scene, but for certain scenarios, yes, absolutely. For action scenes, it's really important. Like, especially if it's a complex multi-person scene. Suppression, it was necessary so that we could all understand the size of this room and the shape and what the actor is going to have to be dealing with. Because that'll adjust the lighting. Like, okay, the set's now like this and like this. The gaffer can look at that and go, oh, I'm going to have to rebuild the grid for that. Okay. That means from day 1 to day 2, I got to change. Okay, good to know that, So that's really helpful. You're basically trying to paint as clear of a picture for everyone as possible.
And then with the corporate videos, I'm sure it's a little bit of a different approach, or maybe it's the same, but then you're coming into someone's company and you're that guy and everyone's like, oh, there he is. There's his director. Oh my God, but you're coming into their world, their set's kind of already built.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very similar. And this is why I think corporate is such good practice, because it's the same muscle, same exact thing. It doesn't matter what you're shooting. And in some ways, it's more important that they understand what you're getting. You don't want them to be surprised at the thing at the end. I expected primary colors and you just gave me a contrasty, dark, moody thing. You don't want that. That's bad. They'll never hire you again if that happens. So yeah, being very, very clear, showing pictures, all of that. In fact, I just had a client meeting today where we discussed colors very specifically. The scripting that I sent them, they said, can you make it brighter? Even in the description of the story, like we want to make sure that when we see a kid, we don't want to see kids sick in a hospital bed. We want to see them on a playground. Good to know. Bright colors. So yeah, very clear. I don't necessarily have to go so far as having department head meeting on some of those things, because some of them are simple, but definitely with your group of clients or whatever it is, that's important.